SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Let us start this lecture with a thought process. If you want to achieve excellence, it can only be achieved through ceaseless energetic actions. You will have to put your 100%, then only you can achieve excellence, and it should be continuous, not that one day you will achieve. So, let us recall what we learned. In the last lecture, we basically discussed about the green revolution, which was being introduced in this country with a fanfare, and it amounts to be a not really green revolution. It is basically greedy revolution, you can say, and it has created a lot of problems and which is difficult to solve. And we have looked at also the uses of pesticides and then fertilizers and other thing. We will continue the discussion on how these pesticides causing the havoc in the human life. And of course, in the last lecture I did not talk about what are the types of pesticides. You are aware whatever available in modern time, any idea? I will give an example how we will classify. For example, there will be mice or the rodent, you have to in the land there will be also. Similarly, there will be weeds, like there is some unwanted plants will be coming up that we need to remove. Yes, right. And similarly, there might be some other what you call insects and other things will be coming, and there will be larvae. So, based on that pesticides are grouped according to types of pest which they need to eliminate or kill, right. So, that is why it is being divided. Insecticides, basically there will be several insects. So, you will have to overcome them by killing them by using some chemicals or paralyze them by using certain chemicals. And the herbicides, which is also known as weed killers, because those are unwanted. But we will see in our ancient time what they were doing and how they are overcoming that problem. They were not thinking that like we will see later on that those are really a problem. And rodenticides, like I told, rodents or maybe rats or the mice, all those things, like. So, those are rodenticides, one can use it. And bactericide, there is a bacteria, a lot of things are coming up which will be detrimental for the plant growth and also the seed productions or the grain productions that way. So, those are, and of course, the fungicides, use a fungus will be developed like left to, and larvicides, there will be larvae so that it will be also affecting the plant growth or the production of the grains. So, if you look at that worldwide, it is basically what they use insecticides is a 44%, this is the basically herbicide 30%, and fungicide is more here and others is 5%, those are very small. But in our country India, we use insecticides are 76%. Of course, it is in tropical region. We have seen that we are having lot of what you call species in the what you call that is what you call not land mass. We are having actually a lot of insects and then animal like kind of things. So, therefore, we need to have taken care. Herbicides is basically about 10% we use, and fungicide 13%, rest is 1%. So, that is the distribution we do, I mean like we use as of now. This is I have taken from some research paper. And if you look at these pesticides, we are discussing something about use of fertilizers or the ill effect of fertilizers and pesticide will continue now. There is a various disease. I have taken some of the them, like if you look at endometriosis is basically a disease in which uterine tissue growth outside the uterus, like particularly for the woman, a common cause of infertility, was virtually unheard of something maybe 20 to 30 years back, but today it is more predominant. It now affects the 5.5 million women in the US and Canada, okay. And of course, in our country we do not have, I could not manage to get the data, but it will be maybe more, if not less. And 10 to 20% women of childbearing age, like that is affecting. During this period, they get these problems, okay. And the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development noted that only 20 cases are reported in medical literature prior to 1921. It is not a common, this I have given the references. See, this that is the reason why today the you are having several problems of producing babies, right. You might have seen in India there are several sophisticated method and also being utilized for producing baby, which was a natural one, because of problems created by our food and then also using pesticides and fertilizers. So, there is another disease which is hypospadias, and all of them you may not be aware, because even I was not aware. A condition in which this hypospadias, in which urethra is near the base of the penis, this is for about the male, right, that is for the female, not end as it should be, has a double in the last 10 years, these are the data what they are saying, and similar things will be in our country also, okay. And undescended testicles, right, which is linked with the rather risk testicular cancers is increasing, right, and researchers have reported a double in cases of 1960 to 82 in England and Wales. And these studies actually we are not very good at, we are just using, we are not aware, because our medical research are really couldn't cope up with this kind of pressure what we are having today, doctors. I was talking with doctor, why you people are not keeping the data? So, where is the time to breathe and where to keep the data? And there is also attitude problem. So, it is very important to keep the data to know, right, but they are not keeping. I talked with several of my friends who are doctors, and so therefore, we do not have data. I can't say we do not have a data, data will be there, but it is not being talked about, might be some corner somewhere somebody will be keeping, okay. So, precocious puberty in girls is now common. You might be observed this, particularly young girls, puberty period is being prematurely being done nowadays, and it is and even I remember that we in our family and other relatives we are having discussion on that, and I am sure this is happening because of food, and they have identified this, they conducted a study of 17,077 girls in USA, found that onset of puberty for white girls is 6 to 12 months earlier than the expected, okay, and which is not the right one. And African American girls experience puberty 12 to 28 months earlier than the whites. Of course, this is a study in 1997, it is almost 20 years back, but still it is alarming, because and that they link to the using of pesticides and also the fertilizers. And reduced sperm counts in was also documented between 1938 to 90, sperm count dropped by 1.5% each year for American men and 3.1% per year per European. I think this thing will be use of the pesticide will be one of the cause. There might be several other causes according to me. Of course, I have taken the data from some paper and they say that, but I feel personally there will be several other causes for this. For example, sedentary lifestyle. For example, they will be sitting down for quite some time, particularly when you talk about either male, this discussion we are talking about males, the male will be, there might be food habits. So, lot of things will be doing that, and this is one of the things. So, fertility problems are becoming more common and now affect more than 2 million couples in US. And in India also you will find lot of people are not having children, particularly those who are not doing physical work, those who are going to doing the stressful jobs. That is the thing what I have talked with some of my friends, and then they are also saying that way, those are involved. So, these are problems. What is it? Pesticide consumption in India, if you look at, it is basically it is increased from 1956 onwards, and at a very higher rate. Of course, it during particularly 1968 to this, but after this 92 kind of things, it is decreasing, and then again there is a little bit increase. I do not have data beyond 2001, and there might be two reasons for this. One is that people started realizing the pesticide, ill effects of pesticide. Other thing is that one data is showing to me that we are started this cotton, genetically modified cotton, and then that is the reason why you might be getting a drop in that. Of course, I am not advocating for the genetically modified seed, because I am having reservation, and so also a lot of people are having. Fact is that we need not to tamper the nature, right, and if we will tamper that, then the greedy people, market forces will be misusing it, and we do not know what its a ramification in the long run. So, therefore, I am not suggesting to go for, but that might be one of the reasons. Why I am saying that? You look at the data, cotton pesticide consumption by different crop, if you look at cotton is 45%. So, if they are using the genetically modified cotton, BM seed, what they call BM cotton, right. So, naturally it will be dropped down. Okay. Are you getting my point? This is my argument, I am trying to give why it is so. And the rest of the things, if you look at rice is major, and then wheat, and then pulses, other things, the pesticide is being used. These are the percentage I have given, 45%, rice is 22%, of course, wheat is very less, 4%, and pulses kind of things. So, therefore, that might be, but we need to eliminate, or we can use some pesticide which is natural. I will be maybe talking about what our some of our people have developed by looking at the scriptures. Our ancient technology has been revived for the agriculture in recent time. So, I will be talking later on how you can overcome, because you have balance, you have lost the balance in the nature. Now, you will have to live with this. You cannot say, look, I go back to the older time when there is no balance, everything, nature is working properly. No, you cannot. So, therefore, you will have to do something to overcome that problem and learning the natural way of doing it. So, side effects of pesticides, if you look at effects on physical environment, for example, this methyl bromide and ozone depletions, all those things is a problem. Acute poisoning and occupational exposure of farmers and agriculture workers with known endocrine disrupting compounds, because this being used in the pesticides, and also suspected to be carcinogens and nerve toxins. And what people have reported, that million human pesticides in poisoning, right, being reported, and 2,20,000 deaths are attributed to pesticide worldwide per year. Right, this is the very alarming kind of things. If it is not only with India alone, it is across the world. So, dietary exposure to the endocrine disrupting compound, known or suspected carcinogens. Some things are known, something being suspected, and these are nerve toxins, not only carcinogen, but also nerve toxins kind of things. So, potential synergetic effects of exposure to environment toxic with similar mechanism of toxicity, like, because not only from the pesticide, from the other fronts also they are being mixed. So, that is a one effect one has to look at it. And we know the soil degradation, I will be talking about soil after this, the reduced biological activity and diversity, because we are using monoculture. So, diversity is very important to maintain the soil quality and the soil not getting degraded. And as I told, dietary exposure and safety of the exiting tolerance level, and tolerance level of the persons are also because immunization system is at stake. So, therefore, the tolerating the things also is decreasing day by day for the people. And as I told earlier, the pesticide affect the predaceous beneficial organism over the pest, right, because you want to target one, but there is a non target pest are there. So, those also will be, and creating the resurges in population of pest organism, that you want to kill somebody and there it is being increasing at alarming with their production rate or their fertility rate being higher. This is another problem what we face kind of thing due to the use of them. And worldwide estimated cost in range of something 100 billion annually. This data I have taken 1990 is a little old, I mean like 20 years back, for mitigation of environmental damage due to the pesticide. Now, this number could have been tenfold, at least. So, I mean that I am trying to say that what are the side effects of that. How does modern farming pollute our environment? What is really it is doing going on? If you look at, let us look at the whole pictures, and there will be what you call application of pesticides, right. You are using these plants, there might be deposition there on the surface of the leaves, on the root, on the soil, and then it will get into crops will be run off into endo drift kind of things. It can go to diffuse and contaminate land runoff, right. It can go to the point source of contaminant, like somewhere there, and it will go to the water, it will go to the drainage, and some of the spray when we are doing it will be evaporated, because you do fumigate, you spray it. So, it may evaporate and go to the atmosphere, right. And there is also water resources will go, it can go to the seepage, it can leach into the groundwater, are you getting. So, then again it will be when you use this water, it is having those pesticide components, chemicals, and then there is of course, it can evaporate with the water. See, it can go by spraying, and it can water can evaporate when you are irrigating it, and then it will come back and then sort long distance it will go. So, if you look at this is the whole chain which is being talked about, how it is going on. So, it is very difficult to overcome now, because it is going everywhere. Where to search, where to go now? Even if you stop using pesticides and the chemical fertilizer, you will have to live with for another maybe 20-30 years to overcome that, even if you make it 0 now. Now, where to go? That is the biggest challenge, because we have created due to the use of modern science and technology. And Indian soil, I mean like as I told, the soil is very important. Therefore, we call it in our ancient scriptures, Matha Bhumi Putram Pratibhyam. Land is very important, that we count, because it is having a life. As I told in the last lecture, the soil is the soul of infinite life. So, therefore, it is important, that is what our scripture has talked about it. If you look at the soil, how you can classify, any idea? Any idea? Because
clay soil, laterite soil,
laterite soil,
black soil,
black soil, great, red soil, okay, red soils. Any other things? For example, we are having alluvial soil. India is having a node with that, okay, because we are having Gangetic plains, rivers, lot of rivers are there. Will get around 43%, which are very good for agriculture. We are having red soil, as you told rightly, 18.5%. We are a black or regular soil around 50%. Of course, desert, we are having this country is having also desert, in the western side, right, the Gujarat, right, Gujarat, no? Rajasthan, okay. So, arid and then laterite soil and this saline soil we are having also, because and also because of bad practice of agriculture, our soil becoming saline, and there is a marshy soil and forest soil. If you look at, of course, this is little old, this thing I have shown in the Himalayan regions, and then this Uttarakhand, these are all basically forest and mountainous soil, which are very different. Today we are spoiling it, this Uttarakhand, even a lot of industry, lot of these things we are spoiling those soil, which are very good. And this region alluvial soil, if you look at Gangetic plains and then this portion of the Gujarat, and these are of course the desert, like in the Rajasthan, this portion is the desert soil, arid soil, this is arid soil, and this portion is basically the black kind of soils, and this is red and yellow soils, and this portion. So, if you look at these are the distribution various kinds. So, depending on your soil you will have to cultivate, you cannot really say that what I will do. So, this is very important. What we are using with modern technology, mechanically we will doing similar thing everywhere, that is should not be done. We will have to have understanding and do that. So, if you look at problem of salinity in the soil, saline soils are characterized by accumulation of soluble salts like various things, sodium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, and so on and so forth. And generally we call it as a what we call saline soil when the pH value is greater than 8, right. So, that will be very bad for to cultivate anything. And saline soil of course, if it is less, then it can yield less crop. So, therefore, one has to avoid this kind of problem. So, Indian soil degradation, if you look at what are the reason, and that land clearance such as clear felling in deforestation. If you go and ask to your father or grandfather, you will say like when they were there, lot of forests were there. Because of modern technology, they are just felling the trees at a faster rate that what human being can do with their hand. So, it is a very faster, very powerful tool they are having. You might have seen in nowadays in your media, social media, right. Some machines have been developed which will just clean the forest in maybe few hours, big forest, large forest. So, and deforestation. So, agriculture depletion of soil nutrient due to improper farming practices, that what we are saying modern agriculture practices or farming practices, not right, not sustainable, not conducive for the mother nature. So, therefore, that is the problem, inappropriate irrigation and overdrafting, because we are using too much of water, and also you are taking a lot of water from the ground. And urbanization and vehicle off-roading, and lot of urbanization is urban areas are increasing, we are taking the land. You people may be knowing that in rural areas land were divided, some land will be for grazing, some land will be for cultivation, some land will be for making these ponds, and some land will be for what you call temples. So, these are all being classified and earmarked. But today all land people are grabbing, So, therefore, the balance was made, and this was a very nice thing we should, and then quarrying of stone, sand, ore, minerals, all those things also spoiling the land. Exposure to naked soil after harvesting by heavy equipments, like because equipments, if you look at, I will be talking about later on, that what is the depth one has to go for during plowing when you do. But this modern machine are doing a very long life, then it is all dried up. So, there is a big problem, therefore, more water, and then there is a little problem with more problem about that. So, monocultures destabilize local ecosystems, dumping of non-biodegradable trash such as plastics and some other chemicals, and then some other material, even cotton, but with a lot of polyesters, right, polyethylene and other things, we are spoiling it. You might have seen like all land are now being spoiled by them. And soil contamination is a big problem, so also soil erosion, soil acidification, loss of soil carbon. If you look at carbon is a life, life we know from the science, carbon, and the soil is various kinds of carbon will be there, and this carbon balance is very important. If you look at that during this photosynthesis, this will be having plant biomass, and the red one, if you look at it, something gigatons of carbon per year is being during this is being what you call white is coming for during this photosynthesis and atmosphere you are having also carbon, right, and then you will capture it with the sunlight and then soil carbons, and then it will go microbial respiration decomposition, it will go back, and then fossil fuel, you know, which is cement, land use, other things will be like something around 9 gigatons kind of thing. So, also in the sea it is captured the carbon and it goes to the net oceans and deep oceans, and all this cycle has to be maintained. And that cycle is being disturbed because nature makes that and we are disrupting. So, soil containing greater than 12 to 18% organic carbon, there will be inorganic carbon also, are generally classified as a organic soil, which is very much essential for agriculture, for farming, right. And if you look at in modern time what we have done, because of this fossil fuel we are using organic carbons and rock carbonates for cement production, other things, right, we are increasing 5.4, and from the atmosphere we are giving in the carbon dioxide, other things, you know, gases and carbon monoxide. So, then you can land can take, you know, 1.9 kind of this gigatons, and then land use, because of land use again it will go back to atmosphere, it may be coming back from atmosphere to ocean. So, there is a imbalance because human being you know have creating this cycle imbalance. Nature works on cycle, nature works on in a maintaining a balance. So, as a result if you look at why it is soil is important, if you look at our history and people have found out we are having civilization, we discussed earlier that Mesopotamian civilization which was collapsed, you know, due to salination of the soil because of salt content increasing, you know, and Indus Valley desiccations of the soil, and again this coming the soil. So, therefore, you know those are the reasons what people have attributed, and of course, there might be some other reason as well, but this is one of the major reasons. So, also the Mayan civilization which is Central America, so it got due to the soil erosion, and Axum, the northern Ethiopia, which I had not discussed earlier, but this is also civilization 600 to 100 BC, before this common era, ecological degradation. Even today also they are having problems, they are still doing Ethiopia. And Roman, you know, like soil exertion, because they were having a large army for the food production, they you know used the soil too much. So, that you know it became a problem for them and the civilization. So, therefore, today if we will not take care of soil, and then we may extinct or the civilization may be going out. So, one has to be careful about that. And what are the problems using excess irrigation? Excess irrigation of land for a longer period called the water logging. You know, you people will be putting this water because you are having pump and they are careless also as well, right. And nowadays government is giving them free. So, free means you know they will put the water and they are spoiling their soil and spoiling, also using more what you call fertilizer, because fertilizer will be going leaching out or going out. So, also nutrients, they do not know what they are doing, and then they will. So, during water logging condition, like pore voids in the soil get filled water and this soil air gets depleted. As a result, root of the plant would not get enough air for respiration, because you need from some respiration. I will be talking about it how it does little later on when I will talk about natural farming and why you do not need to give a lot of water, what is being given nowadays. Water logging also leads to a low mechanical strength of the soil and low crop yield. We are giving more water, pour more water, because nowadays farmers are not that intelligent. They are being pampered, they are being not educated, and they are being told what is to be. They are become laborers. According to me, I have visited whatever the interaction I am having with the local area in around Kanpur. They are just laborers. They listen to radio or television and then do that. So, therefore, they do not have their own knowledge what to do. They are being as if like a robot who is doing. So, that is a big problem with the society is facing today, because people are trying to control them and they think they are the right one. So, also our students, they are also not learning nowadays, because the professors are you know like all the lecture they are giving and they are what you call indoctrinating them, not developing their mind. Similar things are happening. So, water not absorbed by the soil and is evaporated, leaving behind a thin layer of dissolved salt in the top soils, and the salinity you know being increasing. So, the land became useless. So, how soil and water interrelated, because if you look at in our system, people will say okay, soil has to conserve, or the soil, so water management system, soil management, but this is the combined, one has to look at it. Unfortunately, in this country people have not looked at till now. So, this is to be looked at, and without soil can water be retained on the land? Certainly no, right. So, therefore, soil is very important to retain the water in this country. If you look at a water molecule has a positive charge atom bonded to a negative charge atom, that is the chemical we know. When rain water falls after condensation of water vapor, because the vapor and then it will condense and then it will drip down as a rain droplets, hydrogen atom is electrically attracted to soil surface, neutralizing to the negative charge, right. As a result, what will happen, it will try to this hydrogen atom is bonded to the oxygen atom, and a chain of water molecule is built around the clay particle, this is in the soil itself. So, that has to be looked at it, and hence it is important to look at soil and water management together, how to retain, what are the things for the agriculture and also the human life, because we depend on the agriculture, farming, for our own life. So, and it is also ecology and other things one has to look at it. So, as I told, the food qualities I have discussed earlier, but let me again bring to your attention that if you use the natural way, what our ancestors are doing nowadays, people are talking about as organic. Of course, it is a more business and other things, is a little distorted form of the traditional method of farming, and the conventional is the what you call chemical way of doing modern agriculture practice. And if you look at, I had also told you earlier that anything you take, let us say for tomato we will take potassium, right, or kind of thing, it is higher here, and whereas the in the natural farming and then conventional it is 58.6, is a lot of difference. And so, also if you take iron, like if you consider spinach is 1584, and whereas in the conventional, means the modern agriculture practice 19, very less, and that is of course in milli equivalent, I told it is milligrams of that kind of things. So, and if you look at the nutrients in the organic versus the conventional, this is what you call conventional one, means chemical agriculture or using chemical way, and organic means basically natural, right. You will get antioxidant 88, you need not to take a tablet for that, it is higher than this. So, also vitamin C 63 and beta carotenes, vitamin E, phosphorus, all these potassiums are higher as compared to the chemical way for like or the modern agriculture system. So, therefore, we are unnecessarily taking a lot of medicine for our own just to supplement this, it is hopelessly bad. So, therefore, one has to look at it, and problems with the modern agriculture, if you look at it, is we have already discussed. I will not look at it, but one only I will tell you that junk food we are being using like potatoes, tea, coffee, corn, cocoa, soybeans, because these are the commercial foods and it is being used, and then you are being fed with advertisement and lot of money being taken away, and our kids are being lured to use that and get disease, and then from that we will have to pay money and also health hazards. So, therefore, we will have to look at what are the current situation. Increase in food prices by more than 300% in last 10 years in country India, right. Earlier days food was cheap. Decrease of soil quality with lower organic matter in last 40 years. Decrease in cultivation land in last 20 years, of course, there are several other reasons also. It is not only the bad wrong practice of farming, urbanization, again lot of people, it is all interlinked, one cannot say that. Decreased cattle population last 20 years, people are not using them, and those are very important. I will be talking about why we need to rear cattle, why you need to rear animal. You please think about why we need to do, and reduction grazing land for fodder and domestic animals, because animals are not there, people have taken their land, we had allocated land earlier. encroachment of green covers 33 acres per day, you know, being taken by the various people, okay, by various groups. This boom in this building constructions sectors, and they are just grabbing the land, and depletion of water bodies and lowering of water tables in almost all parts of our country, and 130 million hectares of degraded land India till 2000. There might be much more than that today, and migration of villages to urban areas, because you know we are using mechanization, therefore, they are jobless. What they will do there? So, they will have to come for the job to the city, because we are using tractor, we are using all trailer, all those things, and using fossil fuel and then paying money, and then as a result, you know, there is a problem also. I will talk about the suicide of farmers and imbalance of nature causing the dreadful diseases. And between 1995 to 2014, you know, something 2,94,066 farmers committed suicide, because of cost of farming is increasing much and due to debt. And this number, let me tell you, is a government number. I have taken from NCRB India, but this number at least will be twice than what is being reported in this report, according to my judgment. I may be wrong in my judgment. So, now we know what are the things, what are the problems. I will stop over it, plus please understand that the modern practice of agriculture is not good for us, and we need to relook back our traditional method of farming, and also reinvent and rejuvenate, and also find out ways how to tackle the imbalances in the nature, so that we can survive. And it is a question of surviving, it is a question of living a life which is important. Therefore, we need to look at traditional agriculture or traditional farming system more seriously, not only copy and paste the whole thing, rather re-look at it with a new outlook, and do research for finding out better ways to manage ourselves within this problem which being created by this modern science and technology and their misutilization by the greedy market forces. Thank you very much.